Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Sylvia Arthur. I'm the founder of Libraria, and it's my pleasure to host this evening Grace Anna Fall. Your surname? Because remember last time you told me that it's your. I always use your maiden name.
Yes, so Chibiru, Mrs.
Okay, Mrs. Yes. So yes, this is we call her Auntie Grace. So that's very easy. It's much easier to just call her Auntie Grace. And Grace is the founder of the Gemstar School in Ashaiman, and she's going to be talking about what it meant to her to set up the school, why she did it, and why she feels it's important to do for creating next generation leaders. And so I will hand over to Auntie Grace, and she will give her talk. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. As she rightly said, my popular name is Auntie Grace because I don't believe in the madam system of education in Ghana, where you go to school and call madam, sir, or teacher. I believe that it should come to the level of family, where a child can call you auntie and feel that yes, that's my auntie. So, to begin with, Ghanaian education or Africa, how do we see our education in Africa and then the way forward? I was a trained teacher. If I say a trained teacher, it means that in Ghana, you go to the training college, pass out, and then come and then do maybe in-service training or whatever, and then you go on. And so I also went through the same process of going to the training college, and I was posted to a village. I think all along when I was in GES, I had been posted to villages upon villages, and then what I realized and what was fascinating about that area is that you realize that even teachers don't even care about the future. But the idea of future is not there. All they think about is today. And so most of the children are left on their own. Sometimes teachers even don't go to class and stuff. And so it dawned on me. I realized that no. Honestly, when I was there, I was so influenced. Let me be frank with you. Yes, I was so influenced in that direction. Because sometimes when doing it, people think, oh, why are you doing it in tree? I don't know whether too much is her. Yes. Not per job. Yes, let me put it that way, yes. And so you need to sometimes tone down to the level because people are on your nerves. Then my landlady drew my attention to my unique love for children. I lived in a compound house then, a compound house of about 14 rooms. And my room was the only room that all the children in the house could come and have fun and really feel at home. Anytime they come with their homework. They come with everything that they think, learning, anything that they can learn with. My husband, Vincent, also is here, also was very, very tolerant of children. And so one day, my landlady, as I mentioned, drew my attention and said, Auntie Grace, let me say it in tree. So I was saying, pen we asked him, to school what? It means the way you love children, try and establish a school. But at that point, I didn't really think about it, didn't give it a thought. And luckily enough, my husband had bought a land at Ashaiman, somewhere New York. And so we went to visit that land to see how we can plan for it. And my neighbor, the one I share boundary with, drew my attention to the same thing the woman said. Oh, madam, the way I'm shown, you like children, the way I look at you, you like children. Try and establish a school on this land. I was like, wow, this is a prophecy. And so we started to think about it. And then, even though we didn't have money then, we tried, looked for somebody who was selling building materials, helped us, credited the wood, credited us wood, nails, all that was needed to put up a single room structure. And so when that structure was raised, I told myself, I am going to give children the kind of love and the kind of education that I would love children to have, because that is what will give us the better future we all look for in Africa. And so I started. Within 2-3 years, the number had increased, and by God's grace, today we have about 450, almost close to 500, yes, close to 500 children. So I decided to quit my job as a teacher in the public school because it was weighing me down. Yes, even you love children, you want to give your best, but it's the environment. So I decided to quit, and then now I run my own school. So, what is so unique about Gemstar School? What am I offering different from the government school? Aside the BC that we all aim at, I think we need to train the mindset, raise leaders, and not just educated people, just like that, no. And so what we do differently is that when we come to Gemstar, we have morning motivational messages, even for the preschool. Believe in yourself, you can do it, you are black, but you can do it. You can compete with the whites, no matter what. So, and then my next dream, which I'm planning I don't know, maybe one day stop this BC thing, and then focus on skill training. Even though now we have, in terms of music, in terms of football, in terms of this motivational thing, I mean, public speaking and stuff, but I think it's time we come down to the skill, as in the carpentry level, as in the mason, as in the, engineering at that level. This is what Africa needs now. And we believe strongly that if God gives us that opportunity, which we are going to work harder on, and then get children trained in that direction. I believe right after completing JHS, children could even go into entrepreneurship, and they can make money and make the world a better, Africa a better place. And so Gemstar, that is our main dream and our main goal. Education, I believe strongly, is the only means to take people and Africans from poverty. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll ask you a couple of questions, and then we'll open it up to everybody else. Yeah, to everybody else. And so the first question I wanted to ask you is, how many years ago did you set up the school?
Oh, okay. Thank you. I think it's been 7 years. I started in 2011, and then now it's 7 years now. Thank you.
And how long were you working at the public school and doing your own school at the same time? How long was it before you left the public education system to do your own full time?
Okay, so I resigned just 2016. That's about 5 years. I ran the school alongside my public school teaching for 5 years before quitting.
And how did that work? I mean,
it wasn't easy, but I had the shift system. No, I didn't have a shift system. I had a place a bit far away from my school. All I was doing was that I would, I think that place starts a bit late than the school, the private school.
Yeah.
And so what I was doing was that I had somebody in charge as a head teacher who was managing, and then what I would do, I would go in there early in the morning, check things, and then take off to the public school. That was how it was being managed till I resigned.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if everybody's got the picture quite clearly, but how you started was that you had the kindergarten, I believe, in your own home,
sure,
in the compound, and that's still how it is. Actually, you still have these wooden structures, or you still have these structures in your house, and there are 200 kindergarten-aged children in the compound of your house that are learning every day. And then over the last 7 years, you've managed to build up a separate structure, which is the JHS school, yes. And in that school you have about 270 children. So how did you manage to get to the stage where you built up the other school And I'll ask you a follow-up question after that.
Yes, as she rightly said, the plot we bought, which we had plans to build our own home, was now turned into a school. That was where the kindergarten started. And then we built our house too. Then later, as the number was increasing, we had to take loans. The reason why I even kept long in the public school was that I had to use my salary for loan. So I would take loan, invest in, my husband would also invest in, and now we're able to raise that structure there.
And so how far have you got with the structure? What more would you like to do?
Okay, it's a 2-story, but now I think we're on the first floor.
And eventually would you like to move the kindergarten into that structure as well, or will that always be in your house, basically?
Yes, it's not easy, we love children, but sometimes, yes, I think this week we're saying this, it says, yes, you love children, now you're running away from them.
Because, I mean, it's very...
You have no personal life. Yeah. Yes, no personal life. Your house is in the school. Even when they close, some come back, undress and come back. So you can imagine, there's nothing like privacy. So moving the preschool to the other side, that we haven't thought of that. We still want to maintain them there. Maybe we will move out and leave a place for them.
Because, I mean, I remember once I went to your house, obviously you took me to your house, and you opened the door and there were 3 children behind the sofa and the door was locked. So yeah, I mean, it's quite difficult to balance that personal life and professional life. And also to even think of education in an entrepreneurial sense. How do you do that? Like, how do you run it as a business? How does it work?
Yeah, so how do I run as a business? We take school fees as low as 80 cedis and as high as 130 cedis for the GHS.
A term or a year?
Termly.
Okay.
And then we also run this canteen on a daily basis where child pays 4 cedis. The preschool are fed twice a day. They take tea in the morning or any breakfast, night food in the morning. And then in the afternoon they are fed our local diets, rice, bangkong, whatever it is. So.
But in terms of like having that mindset that this is a business, how difficult has that been to have? I mean, even for example with the library, people say, well, it should be free, books should be free. But obviously you have to pay for space, you have to pay for electricity, you have to pay for staff and things like that. How difficult has it been to think of a school, especially since you come from a public education background, how difficult has it been to think of it in terms of a business and to monetize, or to at least survive on it?
Thank you very much. Initially, I really was not thinking about business per se. I grew out of passion. And so almost everything I was doing was my money, a little income we get from the school fees and stuff. But I realized that our bills were going up. The fees you take and the expenditure, income and expenditure were not balancing. And so what we plan doing, even as at now, we still think we aren't making that much. And so we're going to increase school fees maybe next term to beef up whatever we are doing to assist them too. So I think, and then we also let me say a big thank you to Auntie Sylvia. Just last year, this time.
Yeah.
Yes, this time she donated books. God bless you. And so our children now have a library to read. Let me also say, based on the library she opened up, the children are writing stories which are going to UK to be published in the UK. Yes! And then there's this Edify program called Appington 1001 Story, and most of our kids have written a lot of stories, which we pray to God that will be selected as one of the winners. Thank you.
How many teachers do you have at the school, and how did you find them?
Yes, so right now we have about 24 to 25 teachers. Yes, I think 25, right? We have 25 teachers And employment-wise, we normally fall on the SHS graduates, and we conduct interview. We make sure we pick the best out of them, and then we train them based on the lab. I mean, the whole thing about lab. Right now, when I was coming, we had fun fair, and a parent called and said, my child didn't come home. I had to call one of the teachers who was there with them. She was like, Auntie, I'll go and look for the child. I'll go and search. So by the time we got here, she called back. She was like, oh, I've found the boy. I've sent him home. I said, thank you. You know, this work that we're doing, we're just doing it based on love. And she was like, yes, thank you. So we just cite them. The passion is transferred, or I don't know how to put into them, even though they may be SHS graduate wanting to while away time, but they come in and they do wonderfully well.
Does anybody else have any questions?
How big are the class sizes?
How big? Wow, very big. I can't really. I don't know. That's a bit.
The numbers.
Oh, okay. You talk about the numbers. Oh, okay. Currently, we have about 30 to 35 in the class. Yes, 30 to 35 in the class, averagely. Yes. Or even 40. 30, 35 to 40. It depends. Not all the classes are, but averagely, I can say 35 because some are less than 20, 30. And so if we should put all of them together, I think averagely we have about 35 in a class.
I've been following the journey on the Liberia Instagram, and it's beautiful to see the children enjoying the new books.
Wow.
But I think the bigger challenge as a whole is the current culture in Africa, especially not having a reading culture, and not having a reading for pleasure, and people reading as a hobby. How do we combat, especially they say we start and catch them young in the education system. How do we combat this culture of not reading for pleasure and encouraging children to read, also when into adulthood? And
Thank you very much. There is this adage in Ghanaian language that agrobeso ifranopa. Do you get it? Do you understand it? Okay, it means that if the game will be interesting, it starts in the morning. So it should start with me, or charity begins at home. Honestly, when we got the books, I have made my children readers as well. What did I do differently? My husband is here. He would promise them of 5 cedis per book, right? And they are here. So 5 cedis per book. If you're able to read a book, they come for 5 cedis. And they are ready to read as many as they can to earn that money, only to buy more data to go on the internet. And so I think that is what we are trying to do with the children as well. We let them come, borrow books, take them home. I think we have to add this monetary thing to it, and maybe to work perfectly in the school that we need money.
I was going to ask, how do I sign up for the 5 cities per book? I make some money.
Make some money. Let me just say, I'm really enjoying the conversation. And for me, my mom started a preschool in a hall, like right at the center. So I heard you talk about how there's no privacy, how you have no personal life. How do you do this? Because it's crazy for me. Because you come back from work, you're tired, and there's a diaper, the kids all over. So it turned from being a home to being a school. And my brothers and I had a very hard time. It was conflicting because, it's not home anymore. How did you guys, I don't know, how are you doing this with the kids and you have a family? How are you managing all this and still living that life and enjoying your work as a teacher, as a schoolmaker? How are you doing this?
Thank you very much. As I began earlier, it's the passion. This week, my husband came back from work. I called him earlier to take his lunch home. And then when he got to the gate, luckily enough for him, they were on break. I said luckily. They were on break. And they all came around him, embracing him, Daddy, Daddy. Let me give you one scenario. I think somewhere last month, the same thing happened to me. Luckily enough, I call it not luckily because we love them, even though it's unfortunate. And the moment I got to the gate, Auntie Grace, they pushed me down. They pushed me down. It wasn't easy, and it's still not easy, but we're managing it because because passion. The passion comes, that's the number one. Yes, it's not easy. Even sometimes when you're asleep, maybe you're tired in the afternoon around 4, children are gone, parents come back home and come and tell us, yes, my child has brought a letter and I don't understand. Koko, madam. My children can't lie because I've told them not to lie. And so they will never say my mother is sleeping. And so she said we shouldn't wake her up. He will come, wake me up. And I can't also tell him that go and tell them I'm not there. Even though I'm tired, want to rest. So as he said, it's not easy. It's not, but we are managing it. So we are able to relocate. Yes, thank you.
Hi, wonderful work with your school. And I was just interested to know the curriculum that you have that encourages leadership and motivation. Did you base it on any particular models of any schools here in Ghana? Or, so I'm just curious because my mom also has a school outside of Cape Coast in Asinjakai. She also has primary and JSS rather. So I was actually kind of maybe thinking about kind of presenting similar ideas on kind of adding alternative curriculums.
Thank you very much. I think I haven't thought of that yet about curriculum, but what I'm doing is purely out of passion and what I think Africa needs. And so this leadership thing that we do it even in general at assembly, in their classroom. I have some of the teachers who are very, very good at this and they just go to class and just give it to them. We aren't following any curriculum based on leadership. But this, we just, what we have is what we give into them. I think now that they have brought it up, I'll start looking for more of that and then we can add it to it. Thank you very much for that apple.
Anybody else? To follow up on what Derek was asking about how do you encourage children to read from a young age, I'll say that last week you had a reading festival, and do you want to tell them a bit about that? Because that was excellent. That was a Saturday morning from 7:30 till 12:30, and you had over 200 children and teachers come out. So maybe you'd like to tell us a bit more about the reading festival.
Yes, I think when you asked that question, I only remembered it of my son's one. So just last Saturday, as she rightly said, we had a reading festival. We just want to inculcate reading in them. And so we just raised some canopies and grouped them based on activities based on reading, like spelling bee, mother and child, dictation, spellings, and we had book silence reading, we had even the tree dictation in tree. Yes, so that was what we did last Saturday. We have also plans to last Saturday we even invited parents. We wanted parents to see what we're doing. So when the children come home, the area the school is located is not a well educated, let me use that way, the class. And so most parents would say, oh, I don't know what to teach my child. And so we had wanted them to come to see what we were doing. So when the children come home, they would compliment, they would help them do that. It doesn't take being a degree holder to tell your child, pick your book and read for silence reading or something. It doesn't take a degree holder to say, oh, okay, do spelling bee or mother and child. Just pick a book. And then maybe there are 2 or 3 at home children. Get them to read themselves. But unfortunately, they did not turn up, but we'll do it again to get them to come.
There was like 10 or so parents who turned up.
Yes, but 200 children against 10 parents.
You should offer the parents the 5 cities.
Yeah, that's good. Then you get 400 parents. What would you say are the biggest obstacles that you have to face on a day-to-day basis with running the school?
Our biggest is finance, right? Yes, finance. Finance in terms of structure, in terms of everything. You know, everything is run with l'argent. So that's the biggest. And then the second one is teachers turnover, where you, because they are SHS graduates, maximum a year. If he or she doesn't get to go to school in that year, then he or she stays on to the next year. Honestly, we are fortunate with the way we treat them. They're not the type that they would leave the school, go look for another school. So most of them stay until they get further, they get appointment to go for further education. So that is our main challenge. But we hope to better things when our finance gets better. We get graduate teachers who can stay in for a longer period. So I think that's our main.
Okay, so my name is Seth. Obviously, the talk is about who funds, not who funds, who educates. Like, who is supposed to take responsibility in terms of education in Ghana. So, and then we know that the current administration we have in Ghana is currently investing a lot of resources into, like, getting education for every kid in the country. So, do you think those of you in the education sector, I mean the private sector of education, have been involved in this particular process? Have the government like brought you in on whatever they are doing to improve access to education in the country?
Thank you very much for bringing this up. I am currently the treasurer for NAPS in Ashaiman.
What is NAPS?
NAPS means G, some call it GNAPS, others call it whatever, but NAPS, Ghana National Association of Private Schools. So NAPS. And all these things that is going about with the free SHS and what have you, private schools are never involved. I don't know whether to the highest level, but where we are, I've never heard of anything like that. And so government takes its decisions without considering the private man, whether to affect you positively or negatively. No. Somebody may think, okay, what about funds? Maybe government's helping you people small. Nothing. Just last week, there were some people in my area ready for district tax. And they were like, when to your district tax, we'll close up the bill. I said, I'm not going to pay a penny. I'm not going to pay a penny to the district, because even the road to the school, you have been there before. We had the benevolence raising this footbridge for the children, okay? Because when it rains, it's very, very, very bad. And the district, you come for money and you do nothing about it. Now, the situation over there, the footbridge that was raised by a benevolent is now almost destroyed. And we don't have anybody doing it. We have seen school owners around to support a bit that we can do that, we can repair it. And so governments with the private sector, in terms of private education, I think we need to work harder. Maybe we have to go on strike or something to get attention of the government. So government is really not helping us. Thank you. Any more questions?
Yeah, just a question around the culture of reading among children. And I guess from my impression growing up, I didn't grow up here, but in America, my parents always encouraged me to read. Even when I was about 7, my father made, me and my older brother do book reports. So reading was always encouraged. And so I guess most of the other Ghanaians who I was around, they always had a love for reading and surrounded by books. Just growing up, my parents would talk about books that they read when they were young, even if, many of them were, or some of them were by British authors. But it was someone like my mom who introduced me to Ama Ata Adu. So, so I don't understand that idea where reading is not encouraged among Ghanaians. So maybe you can tell us more about that, or what your experience was.
Yes, there's this popular adage in Ghana now that if you want to hide something from the black, put it in books. And I'm sure many of us have heard that. Yes, I can't really tell where this stems from or the root of this problem, but I think it's our educational system. Yes, where we are told to do rote learning. I remember when I was in class 4, they come in with mental rote learning. You must just chew and pour. So they come with games. Yes, so reading per se, we're not introduced to reading. Okay, all we knew was the teacher coming to give it to you. So teacher comes, gives, take, comes, give, take. And then go and pour at the BC level. And so now that some of us have been called into this profession, I think we're going to ensure that reading goes on well with our children.
And I'll add to that, I don't think we can ignore the economics of it either. And the fact that, for example, I was at the PTA meeting about a month ago at the Gem Star School, and obviously you were talking about, or the parents were talking about textbooks and how they're very expensive. And I think one of the parents said, we're going to have to decide which books to buy because we can't afford to buy them all. So we will choose to buy the maths and the science books and not the English books. And by English, I think he might have meant storybooks because obviously they're seen as not providing any, not serious, they're not providing any benefit. And one way that we can try to get around that is to show that there are economic benefits to being a reader. And this is shown by lots and lots of studies, whether you're looking at the CEOs of top companies, or even if you're looking at mentally happier people, people who are more employed, they're all readers. And one thing that we do, sorry to hijack the conversation, but one thing that we do is we do an event called Market Akinkan, which is market reading, and we go to various markets around the city and we help the children of the market women with their reading. And in the beginning, when we had to go and see the market queen to ask her permission to do this, they were very skeptical. And they were like, why would you want to come and help our children to read, and what use is it to them? And when you can show that, listen, there's nothing wrong with working in a market whatsoever, but maybe you want your child to do something else, and the way for them to be able to do this is for them to be able to read well and read widely and to be more exposed to the world. That's when they started to get it. So I think sometimes we need to make the economic arguments for reading, and that's what people understand.
So I'm a high school teacher in New York. And you mentioned about the curriculum, and that's also been something that I've been thinking about. In the US, I also feel like there's been a decline in critical thinking, and I believe that also has to do with, as we're seeing, the chew and pour, right? Because that also exists to a certain level there. And I think it comes from a particular time, right? Industrial Revolution, and they just need people to man the machines. So it just becomes like rote memory. But now we're coming in a time where we need people that can think flexibly. And I'm starting to kind of see a gap. I went to Atlanta growing up, even though I was born in New York. So I went to Motown. I left before JSS. But I feel as though the primary school education has deteriorated even from when I was growing up. And I'm wondering, how do we handle that? Because the world is moving ahead, and I'm worried that Africans will be left in the dust. And I'm worried that neocolonialism is already at our doorsteps. And if we don't train our youth, then we're gonna get caught in this vicious cycle. So, I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I think
I do like the trade too. I believe in trade. But there's this debate, the whole Du Bois, about intellectualism versus Booker T. Washington about, a trade, and I believe both are necessary. Not one isn't mutually exclusive. I think we need both.
And I was just going to add that in terms of reading, as you mentioned, the economic benefit, but also the intellectual benefit, because children learn better from reading an actual book versus utilizing a computer.
Yeah.
And so with the use of technology, there is some sort of decline in, even spelling and comprehension. So I think, the fact that you have a library and you're encouraging more reading for pleasure is overall going to benefit in so many ways, because technology is not quite the answer.
Thank you very much. I think what you raised is a very good point. What I would just add to it is that, we can't sit on the bench and then look at the government do whatever he wants to do with our future leaders. Because sometimes when I pass by the government school, I weep. Yes, the kind of education that is going on, as you rightly said, Africa will be left behind. Maybe in about 10, 15 years, that's where we'll really feel or see the impact. And so please, I would appeal to all of you. I don't know how many of you have passion to go into education, but in your own small way, if you think you can do something in terms of education, please try and then, help. Yes. Whose responsibility it is to educate Ghanaian child, right? Is that the title?
Yes.
And I think it's a responsibility to all of us. We all have that responsibility. Let's do it and see the future better. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question, which goes back to why you decided to start the school. Obviously you have a passion for it, but I remember you once telling me a story about a group of children who committed an armed robbery or something, and that inspired you. Would you like to share that story?
Yes. Not a group of children per se, but I had teenagers. We shared my neighbor that I shared boundary with. When I was talking about, I made mention of a neighbor. He was robbed. Was he robbed? Attempted. They came attacking him, and none of us was able to step out to see what's going on or to intervene. We were all just peeping through our windows, and we realized they were just teenagers of about 13, 14, 15 years. 15 years. And so really, that's really called for attention. And the question was, whose fault is it? Is it the community or working hard? There were so many questions. And I also have these young children, children of that age, 13, 14. So we tried working hard in that direction. Unfortunately, we had 2 or 3 of our children leaving our school, also of that same age, and then went to the public school, a public school close by. The parents' excuse was that she cannot pay the school fees anymore. School is about 100 cedis. She can't pay 100 cedis a term. She can't pay, so she took the children to the government school. And later, I think in about a year time, one of them came to confide in me. Auntie Grace, I wish I'm Gemstar, because when I was here, every morning you used to encourage us, you would tell us not to do this, that. And when I went there, no, I didn't have anything like that. And I had friends who have introduced me to armed robbery and juju and stuff. And so please, I want to come back to school. I don't want to join that group. I want to come to school in Gemstar. And so I happily took him in, this time even on scholarship. but it's unfortunate because he was introduced. I don't know. It's like a spell. So he also trying to, form a gang in the school. Yes, with time. So what we did was that we advised I think the parents are not really here, but he was living with a sister. So we called the sister and then we told the sister what he should do with him. I mean, maybe introduce him to a trade, and we also gave him counseling before letting him. But now he's even left the school. Yet he left the school. So sad. That is that. The public schools, there's nothing to motivate them. The teachers come teach mathematics, just leave. And so there's nothing like motivation, there's nothing like the future and stuff. I don't know how many of them do
Some of
that.
the material is also wrong too.
Come again.
Some of the materials are also wrong.
Totally wrong.
You know, so they're teaching wrong information.
Archaic.
Yes. And that's the issue.
So what do you do if you have a child in your school whose parent has not paid the fees or is not in a position to be able to pay the fees on time? What do you do with the child?
Okay, for some time, for a long time, we're just accommodating them, as I said earlier, because of passion. And so some would owe about 500, about 600. Right now in our books, we have some owing about 600.
And it's 100 a term, so you're talking about 6 terms.
Yes, systems.
Yeah.
Systems. Yes. And
How long is a term?
a term is 100 cities.
So I'm technically
that's
3 to 4 months.
4 months.
Yes, 3 to 4, maximum 4 months.
So
Yes.
it's like 2 years that they're in debt.
Yes.
And so what would you do with that child? How does the process work?
Yes, we used to cancel out. I think some time ago we used to cancel. Yes, we used to cancel that debt, and I will call the parent and tell the parents, you see, I'm canceling it out for you. We are going to start on a new page, on a new page, and so please this time try and work hard so that we can get our money. And they will still not come, and so we realize that at a point we need to just start. We tell them go home, go and get the school fees and come. And some of the parents, when the children are sad, they are able to follow up, come and pay something. And it looks like that is the only thing, that's the only message they understand. If you start, they will come. But if you don't, like, okay, she's okay with us. So
you were saying that, like in the past, if you would send a child home, obviously they're just sitting at home, and that creates a gap in their education when they come back. So now you don't, you keep them on as much as you can.
yes, we used to do that.
Yeah.
Even still we do that. We don't even send them to go and sit at home.
Okay.
All we do is that come and put your bag down, but go home. Let your father and let your parents know that you've been sacked, and then come back. And I think that has been our practice since Adam. So for the child to be at home, we've never had such an incident where the child is sacked and the child will be at home for about 6 months, 3 months, like that. They will just go, come back, and some of them, when they think it's too much, they tell the child, even though they will let you put your bag down and come back. I feel shy coming back and going, so you sit at home for some time, and when I get money, I'll pay. I think that is what they're doing now. Okay.
So do you have opportunities for scholarship for the kids?
Sure, we do. We do. As I said earlier, even those who are owing the 2 years are like on scholarship already. And we also have some that we have put on scholarship as children of, I think, third child. A third child is made to pay half of the fees. A third child is made to pay half of the fees. So if a third child is supposed to pay 100 cedis, he or she is to pay 50, half. And then the fourth child, full scholarship. And we see that some are also really, truly don't have. For example, like the boy, I brought him in again. And I was even feeding him, schooling for free, uniform free. Yes. And yes, like that. So we have scholarship for them, even some for feeding free. Yes.
So do you have opportunity for people to sponsor something of the sort?
Yes,
I
that
mean,
is.
individuals.
Yeah, that is what we haven't tried. It was just last time. The lady who introduced you, is it? No, Rosemary. Yes, Rosemary said she's going to do something like that. But I had I belong to a group, Toastmasters. I don't know if you know Toastmasters Club. So I belong to Toastmasters Club, East Legon Toastmasters Club. I'm a member there. And one of the members, I used to talk about the school a lot and the children in my speeches. As one of the speeches, she followed to see the children, and she was touched how I've been able to manage children, and she was able to fund, I think, 3,000, support us with some 3,000 to pay some of them their school fees. So I think she's the only one, that's the only opportunity we've had with people coming in to support. Aside that, we're doing it alone.
So I think the question is then a practical one that he's asking, like if people here wanted to help in some way with the school, whether it's financial or whether it's with time, how can they help?
Yes, how can they help? Maybe you can adopt a child and decide to pay the fees. We have some who cannot pay, but we're just managing them. We try and have 2 terms, 3 terms, 3 years fees, all packed in. It's not easy. They come, they use the washroom, you know everything.
Yes.
I think the point about scholarships is interesting because you made an anecdote about the parents choosing to prioritize maths and science books over reading, because I think there's a lot of success stories from the scientists and the financial ministers, and they see the benefits, the real life success, and there's not so many testimonials from people that made a career or benefited directly from reading. And I think scholarships is one way that we could add some value. And whilst these areas are important, maths and science and reading, the lady behind made a point about us being left behind, Africa as a continent. And I wanted to know I'm curious what provisions are made and preparations are made for areas like technology and innovation, etc., coding. I know the kids are quite young, so perhaps I'm a little bit premature, but I'm just curious if there's any technology.
It's a good question. Technology-wise, we also have that in mind. Because of that, I think we have introduced e-readers with the Kindles. Kindle e-readers. They have something like a tablet where the children use to read. And we also have some computers, laptops that we give it to them, but there are not many, honestly.
But do you borrow them? Is that correct? Like, do you have?
We as the school has about 3, right? We have about 3. And then the teachers, as I said earlier, we cite them, we tell them, you know what we're doing? It's like we are just passion. And so they also come in and they are ready to support. The one in charge of ICT, anytime he has ICT, he asks teachers who have laptops on their own and takes even that of friends and then asks what we have and he teaches them. And when you come, our class is very lively, but we're hoping to get more. As for that one, we're planning to buy maybe every month or every year or something. We just try and have. But in technology-wise, these are the things we're doing. With a Kindle, it costs us, I think, about one is about 600 and something. So we have about 15 of them for the Kindle books, the tablet for reading, and then also the laptops. So you can imagine 15 times 600 pieces, 600 cedis. It was even on credit, on loan base, and we're still paying. It's not easy, but it is well. Yes, we believe that if the government won't do it, we will take our life in our own hands, right? And then give them the best that we can.
Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, so I'll ask what's next for the GemStar and the school and for you. What's next? Where do you see the school in 5 years' time, 10 years' time?
Big. Yes, we even want to, if God permits, even SHS, yes, SHS would want to get to that level, raise children. But an idea came in. Did you know this apostle? This African star? What's his name? Kojo Safo, yes, Kojo Safo. I'm thinking of maybe contacting him to see if he can come in with train some of the children when they get to SHS, children who would want to go into that. But that is the dream. That is my dream, to get children to have skill as well, not only BEC. I wish there was nothing like BEC, but in my area, they look at BEC more as they're not. Most of them are carpenters. I mean, they're not well educated. They don't really understand the system, how the system has changed. And everybody is putting BEC, but BEC is not the ultimate. I believe that skill training is the best. And so Gemstar, one, we want to go into skill training, and then 2, raise leaders, and also get to SHS level.
I was going to leave it at that, but you just reminded me of another question that I had, which is about the parents actually, and how much of a barrier are the parents to you teaching the children? In the sense that when we work with some parents, they're quite intimidated by the whole subject of reading and education, because as you said, they themselves are not that well educated, so it's almost like they're fearful. In a sense, do you get what I mean? Like how do the parents take to you and what you do, and how involved are they?
I think the parents believe in us, believe in me, and believe in my husband, and believes in the system, the school. Yes, because I wouldn't say they are intimidated. I think they really believe in us, and so they really want us to continue what we're doing for their kids. Some of them say, Madam, what do you mean? Someone in BBR. Do you get? But I know you know everything, so you do it the way you want it done with our kids. And so I think they believe in us, and they are willing to support. But should I say they don't have the means? I can't even tell my whether it's the means they don't have, or they have the means but they're not ready to bring it out. It's a mixed up.
Any other questions? Anyone? No? Do you have anything you'd like to say as a final word?
Yes, my final word is, I will still say it again, that education in Ghana and in Africa does not depend on the government alone, but it's a collective responsibility. And if you are here and you know you can in one way or the other, please put in your best, and let's see Africa move forward. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to thank you all for coming, and feel free to network and to talk and to ask Auntie Grace any questions that you'd like to. Thank you very much.
Thank you.